Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of NFL Weekly Picks on Red, White, and Bills. Got my co-host Brett from Go Bills Podcast. After the video, please go over there, subscribe if you haven't yet. Subscribe to Red, White, and Bills and like the video if you haven't yet. And we got a couple weeks left. Brett, how you feeling?
Dude, I'm feeling great. I mean, we're a couple of weeks left in the season. We got, for Bills fans, let's just talk about this real quick. We have two great wins over two really good teams in the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys. We got a game this week against the Los Angeles Chargers that should be a good win for the Buffalo Bills. And we control our own destiny to get to the playoffs, which not a lot of people thought we would get in. And there's some media that's still doubting the Buffalo Bills, which I think only makes things better. So, it's just a matter of time before we get back into the playoffs, and we're going to be that dangerous team that nobody wants to play.
Absolutely. I agree. It'll be a good time to get in there and be able to prove everybody wrong. But starting off on Thursday night, playoff implication game. Saints still fighting for the division. Rams are in the 7th seed, I think. They're on a little bit of a streak, a little bit of a hot streak. Saints don't have a good offense, so it really just comes down to that. The Rams are kind of hot. Cooper Kupp is back and healthy. Stafford's playing pretty good. Puka is over 1,000 yards. Like they got some weapons on offense, and they're looking like they're trying to get back to the Super Bowl, which they probably won't. But I'm gonna go with the Rams here.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on this one. I'm going to go the Rams as well. I think that they're a team that has been playing very well lately. Sean McVay is running this team incredibly well for a season that not a lot of people expected them to even be in the playoffs. And now look at they have a good chance at making the playoffs. Not only that, but being that dangerous team like you talked about with lots of weapons over in with the Rams, and they have Puka, who's over 1,000 yards. They have Cooper Kupp, that when he's healthy is one of the most electric wide receivers in the NFL. But the Saints they have a good defense. Don't get me wrong. They're just a team that's kind of flighty throughout the season, and they have one good game from Derek Carr and one bad game. And this is a team that when they're on, they're explosive on offense, but when they're off, it's just a different team. And I think that this is a game where you're going to see the number one, them traveling to Los Angeles is going to hurt them a little bit. I think that's going to take a little step away from them. And then also playing out west, you never know what type of team you're going to get. So I just think that this is going to be a game where Derek Carr struggles, and you'll see Alvin Kamara have a decent game. But I just don't think that the Saints will have an answer for the Rams.
I absolutely agree with you there. You got a divisional matchup. Bengals, somehow they keep winning. Steelers, they keep losing. Both teams aren't that good. They don't deserve to be in the playoffs, either of them. Steelers look like they're going to be out here, but no Jamar Chase probably. He's got an AC joint issue. Jake Browning's been proving my point of it's not Joe Burrow, it's the cast around him. And, it's really good to be right about that. One time it's a fluke, but 3 times now, 3 wins, over 30 points 3 times. So looking like I was right about that. But I don't know. I think the Bengals win this one, and then they lose the last 2. I mean, Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, whoever you put in there. Steelers offense is down with one of the worst offenses in the league. Bengals, they're fighting for their life. They got some extra juice from a backup quarterback coming in. And I still think with T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon and a pretty decent defense, they can come out and win against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on this one too. I think the Bengals are going to find a way to sneak into the playoffs as a team that, number one, not a lot of people would have expected them to make the playoffs with Jake Browning up at quarterback. But if you look at the Steelers' offense, they are ridiculous. The one thing that I look at is how come they can't figure out a way to get Najee Harris the ball and get him getting positive yards. This has been the issue for the last couple of years. The offensive line of the Steelers is atrocious, and I'm sorry to say it, but you can't trust them. So I'm looking at which team has a better defense and which team can put some points on the board on offense, and that comes down to the Bengals. And Jake Browning, he's been lighting it up. I wouldn't say he's been spectacular, but he's been putting points on the board for his team, and that's what matters the most. And he's also not afraid, and he's poised going in there. And now you're going to have Mason Rudolph, who's the third quarterback for the Steelers. Is he going to make a difference? And I don't think he is. I don't think he's that starting quarterback in the NFL type. I don't think he's the decent backup quarterback that can come in either. So I think the Steelers offense is going to struggle for another week. This is a matchup where the Bengals need this game, especially with the division seeding and also the conference seeding. So I think they're going to come out of this game with a win.
I agree. Next game, we got the Bills headed to Los Angeles for an away home game versus the Chargers, who are on the backup quarterback, new head coach, new GM. They're essentially eliminated. Really nothing to lose, nothing to gain. I don't really see a way in which we lose this game, especially because at this point in the year, the last 2 years or since 2020, McDermott and Allen, they're 16-2 in December and January. So I think by this time in the season, they understand what's at stake, and you got to be playing your best ball. I don't see us dropping to a crappy team like we did earlier in the year. And people are going to stay mad another week when the Bills win again, and they're another step closer to the playoffs.
Completely agree with you there. I think the Bills are going to win this one. And if you look at the narrative that's going around the NFL right now, is that the Bills are the most dangerous team of the non-playoff teams that anybody could face. And Nick Wright, I don't know if you saw this, Sean, but Nick Wright came out with an article today on his show, and he said that the Bills are going to be one of the most amazing teams that didn't make the playoffs. He's still saying that. So we got 3 weeks left in the season. Let's just look at this. The Bills play not only the Chargers, but they also play the Patriots, and then they play the Dolphins coming up. The Dolphins have the Cowboys. Then they have the Bills as well, and they have the Ravens. But the game that's going to matter the most is going to be the Bills and Miami game that you and I are going to go to, which is going to be a great game in Miami. So if you look at that game, it could decide the whole entire division. It could decide whether the Bills get a home game in the playoffs. So I think the Bills they're determined. They're ready to win their fourth straight AFC East title, and they're going to make it happen. So I'm taking the Bills. I'm going to ride with them all year long until the end. So I think it's going to be a fun win streak that you're going to see the Bills go on all the way to the Super Bowl.
Definitely will. You got the Seahawks coming off a really good win versus the Eagles, who should be on a 4-game losing streak. But unfortunately, 5-game losing streak. But, unfortunately, we didn't get it done when we should have. And then the Titans, who blew a game against the Texans when they were winning in the fourth quarter, and they blew it. But I'm going with the Seahawks, baby. Hawk up. Just kidding. That's not their saying, but they're gonna demolish this team. I think they're gonna start catching steam near the end of the year, and they're gonna make the playoffs. I think you're muted.
Thank you. I apologize about that.
No,
I like the Seahawks. I like what they did last week. Julian Love with 2 interceptions in the game, but I think that the Titans are one of the better teams in the NFL as far as being able to stay in games. So I'm going to take the Titans to win this one. It's going to be a little bit of an upset, don't get me wrong. Last week, Will Levis was dealing with an ankle injury. So his status, that's going to be in question. But I also think that Ryan Tannehill is capable of winning this game if he is going to be the starting quarterback. Geno Smith last week did not play. And you saw Drew Lock, who – he did a decent performance, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think that, he's that spectacular of a quarterback. I think they just got very lucky from a team in the Eagles that pretty much underwhelmed the whole entire game. They were up 10-0, and then they just collapsed. And that's the recipe for how the Eagles have played. So I'm going to take the Titans in this one, and I'm going to take them in an upset over the Seahawks.
Oh, you're
so I'm
going to
gonna
pick
take
it as an upset. Sounds
week.
good.
So 2-for-1 special on that one. You might get a couple points there.
Yeah, maybe. And then the next game coming up, the Colts fighting for a spot in the AFC, and the Falcons, who are still fighting for the division, which is all possible. Gardner Minshew is looking decent. I think, Jonathan Taylor might be coming back. If not this week, maybe next week. But Zach Moss is doing pretty good. Michael Pittman. I mean, they just find ways to win. They're a good scoring team. I think they're top 6 or 7 maybe in scoring, and their defense does enough. They got DeForest Buckner over there, and Falcons making a quarterback change. I guess Desmond Ritter's out for good, so Taylor Heineke's coming back, and then maybe they'll get Bijan more involved. Kyle Pitts is still there. Drake London's there. Pretty good offensive line. So we'll see. I'm going to go with the Falcons, though.
Man, you read my mind on this one. Everything that you were saying, you're talking great about the Indianapolis Colts, but, I just have this weird feeling that Taylor Heineke starting is going to give the offense of the Atlanta Falcons a little bit of a spark, and that's what they're going to need. The biggest thing is Bijan Robinson having a good game, which I think that he will. And you're going to see the offense of the Atlanta Falcons go down the field and score some points. Now, this game is at the Falcons, where Desmond Ridder has had a really good record, but he's not going to be the starting quarterback. And the Falcons, again, they're in the NFC South race as well. So if they can get a couple of wins, they could win the South. And that would be great for them. But I'm going to take the Falcons to win this one, and I just think that they're going to be the better team, especially with their defense lately.
I get it. I believe it. And I think it will happen. I just had that feeling too, like you said. And you got the Browns versus the Texans. I still think CJ Stroud is not going to play. From what I heard today, they're probably going to go with Keenum again. Tank Dell's out. Nico Collins is with a calf. You got Motor over there and Dalton Schultz, but this Browns defense is too good. Joe Flacco, even though he had 3 turnovers last week, they still won a game, which is hard to do. We've seen it happen with us. We lose almost all the time. We turn the ball over more than twice. So the fact that other teams like Joe Flacco can do it pisses me off. But I think the Browns will win this one, and this does kind of help. I kind of gave up on catching the Browns anyway. So for a wild card, I'm looking. We either win in the division or there's 2 wild card spots open. The Browns at 9-5. I think they'll win this game, go to 10-5, basically clinch a playoff spot. Almost. I think next week they might if they win. But this will help us too because the Texans are someone we're battling with, even though they're. Oh yeah, the Texans are 8-6. So this will be a good one. But I'm going to pick the Browns here.
I'm going to take the Browns as well. I think that the one thing that we've seen is a resurrection of Joe Flacco from the Super Bowl MVP, Joe Flacco, that we saw many years ago. And he looks incredible with this defense that he has behind him. And the one thing that I think is going to be the difference maker is going to be the deep ball of Joe Flacco. And that's going to be the key for how the Texans are going to lose this game is by the deep ball of Joe Flacco. Now, the defense of the Browns has been one of the best in the NFL, led by Jim Schwartz. And I think that that's also one of the areas that you're going to see the Browns find a way to get a couple of interceptions on whoever's going to be the starting quarterback, whether that's going to be Case Keenum or it's going to be CJ Stroud. Now you have a rookie quarterback that's going to be going up against the number 1 defense in the NFL. That very well could happen. Or you're going to have a veteran backup quarterback who has struggled quite a bit lately and has thrown some interceptions as well. And I think that the Texans last week got off the hook. I think they should have lost that game to the Titans, very much so. And they found a way to win it. But I think this is going to be a different team, the one that's very hungry, that wants to get into the playoffs, and the Browns are going to find a way to win this game.
Couldn't agree more. And you got a game where the Packers look good for a couple weeks and they look bad for a couple weeks, and then the Panthers edge out a division rival in the Falcons, which I did mention that they almost beat the Falcons in week 1 or week 2 where they should have won. And I almost picked the Panthers last week, but I didn't. But I don't think they'll beat the Packers. I think Mike LaFleur is going to scheme up a good offense against this Panthers team who, if they're winning by less than, it's like 9-6 or 7-6 or something crazy. So don't think that will happen. I think the Packers will have a resurgence and they'll win this game pretty easily.
Yeah, I completely agree with you here. The one thing that has been going around the chat room out of Green Bay has been Joe Barry's job, the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, and people are calling for his head. And this is going to be a game where Joe gets it right, and they're going to put a lot of pressure on Bryce Young, and that's what's going to be the difference for how the Packers are going to get a win this week. Jordan Love has been playing very well as of late, and I think that this is going to be a game where he's going to bounce back. The offense is going to get some points on the board, and they'll be able to win this one quite easily.
Yeah, I think so. Feel bad for the Panthers, but then you got a garbage game, the Commanders versus the Jets. This is extremely tough because the Jets, they're all checked out. Commanders have been checked out. The Jets have a good defense and a bad offense. Commanders got a bad defense, a bad offensive line, but good weapons on offense. So you're just like, I don't know who to go with. I'm gonna let you go first. I need another minute to think about this one.
Well, I'm going to start it off with one thing, okay? This was supposed to be the game that Aaron Rodgers came back. That's the one thing that everybody was expecting. So he's not going to be back in this one. Obviously, yes, he has been activated off of the 21-day window, so he is back on the roster. He's still rehabbing quite a bit. But the Jets are an ugly team. That's what I have to say about them. Their quarterback play is awful no matter who's starting at quarterback, but their defense is one of the better defenses in the NFL. So I'm going to take the Jets to win this one, bearing the defense. And, Sam Howell has put some points on the board quite a bit, but he's not going to be the starting quarterback, I don't think. That's one of the things.
He's not? Why? Did he get hurt?
We benched him for Jacoby Brissett last week.
Really?
So there's a chance that he's not going to even start this game. So you have to think about that as well. So Jacoby Brissett starting, and the play of Sam Howell, that's going to come into effect quite a bit. So I'm going to take the Jets in this one and to find a way to get a win. And, well, yes, they're eliminated from the playoffs, and I think that's going to be one of the reasons why Aaron Rodgers does not return this season. But I think that the Jets are just going to pull this one out. They're going to find a way to mess with their draft place that they're going to be in right now, and they're going to move back a little bit further, which is going to only hurt them from getting a better player.
I think it's weird that they benched Howell. Like, he wasn't doing pretty good for a rookie. Maybe they benched him out of protection. Like, we're done.
It was with a couple minutes left in the game that they benched him, but it was like the last.
So they didn't say he's not. They didn't say he's not starting.
Let me see what they're saying, because Jacoby Brissett moved the ball down the field on the last 2 drives for the Commanders.
Yeah.
So,
I kind of get if they would bench him now, because it's like, they're done. He had a pretty decent year stat wise, and then they kind of gave up already. And it's like, why not protect your young quarterback? But
so they're going to stick with Sam Howell at quarterback this week.
Oh, okay. Man, you know what? Give me them Commanders. Give me them Commander. I just got. I've been saying the Jets defense this, the Jets defense that, and Jet fans will always go to their defense like, what's the defense supposed to do? They got to score, give up 10 points for us to win, but then the defense gives up 30. So it's like there comes a point where I understand your offense sucks, but if your defense is as good as you say it is, it needs to step up. And if they're giving up 30 points 5 times this year isn't stepping up, with an offense that's abysmal. So I said that last week. I said, I think the Jets could beat the Dolphins because they got a good defense, and Tyreek Hill's not playing, and they lost 30-0. So, we put up 30 on them. The Dolphins put up 30 on them the week before that, and they weren't eliminated yet. These guys were playing for something, and they just quit. Like, things don't go their way, the defense just kind of gives up. So it's tough to say, but I don't know. I think they're officially done now. Things are looking like shit over there. Yeah. Saleh went from all gas, no brakes. We got all these haters, and I've been saying it since the beginning. He's just a loudmouth prick. They have no hater. They have haters because of him and because they run their mouth, not because of their skill. And again, turns out to be true. I said Allen Lazard was trash. Randall Cobb was trash. Turned out to be true. I said their offensive line is going to be horrible. Turned out to be true. So the Jet collapse happened, and I just think the Commanders are going to not. I don't think they quit as easily as the Jets do. So I think they'll come out with a win.
Yeah, they're fighting for Ron Rivera's job right now. That's one thing that you have to add in.
Yeah, surprisingly, he still has a job, but
I know. Surprisingly, I can't believe it.
Yeah. All right, another divisional matchup. Lions looking to stay in pace for the 1 seed, which I don't think they'll get. And then the Vikings are also fighting for their playoff lives. I think the Lions already wrapped up the division. I think they might they already wrapped it up or they'll wrap it up if they win this week. The Vikings are a hot and cold team, even with Jefferson. The Lions are just so overpowered at some points. I just think after that loss, who's that bad team they lost? Oh, they lost to the Bears. I think after that, it's going to be that one defining game for them in the rest of the season where it changed everything. And I don't think they're going to drop this game. I think they're going to probably win by at least 10 points against the Vikings.
Completely agree with you there. I think that they're going to find a way. The Lions are one of the better teams in the NFL. They're going to win this one.
Absolutely.
The Vikings are a team that's just, they're all over the place in every single aspect. So I'm going to take the I'm going to take the Lions.
Oh, you already said Vikings. Sorry, got to write it down.
Bye, Lions. I said bye, Lions. Is the Valiants, whatever they are. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take the Lions. They don't have a team, so you'll get the loss.
Yeah, true. Of course. But I'm going to take the Lions to win this one. I just think that they're a great team right now. And Dan Campbell, congrats to him. I mean, he's coaching this team that, a couple of years ago, nobody would have expected them to make the playoffs. And now they're going to be a dangerous team going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think he's a coach of the year candidate for sure.
Very much so.
Now, this game is interesting because the Jags have been playing like shit. The Bucs won a few games in a row, and the Bucs are fighting to win the division. They're still on top of the division, but if they drop this game, it could change. Jags lost 3 in a row. They look horrible. They get, Trevor Lawrence has 22 total touchdowns and 16 turnovers, so he's not looking as good as everyone thought he was going to be, and he's injured too. So he's playing injured and not playing well. Their defense has been Swiss cheese all over the place. Man, this is tough. This is real tough because the Bucs 1 minute Baker Mayfield's quietly having a really good season too. I think he's got like 24 touchdown passes and 8 picks. So he's actually having
If you look at last week how he did against the Packers, he had a perfect passer rating. Which you look at that. I mean, nobody goes into Lambeau Field and has a perfect passer rating. So Baker's starting to come alive. The chef is baking in Tampa Bay.
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely a fact. And that's why, when we played them, everybody was like, oh, it's not really a good team. But they were just on a little skid. But they were playing good up until that point, and then now they're playing good again. I think they're on a 4-game win streak, if I'm not mistaken, or 3 or 4 game win streak. You know what? I'm going to pick the Bucs here. Recency bias. They're on a 3 or 4 game win streak. Jags are on a 3-game losing streak. Jags don't look good. Bucs are at home. Baker Mayfield's looking pretty good. I just don't have faith in the Jags right now. I know they're 8-6, but record doesn't really mean nothing at this point. So I'm gonna go with the Bucs.
The biggest thing is, number one, Trevor Lawrence in the concussion protocol, which means that
he's in concussion protocol too.
Yep. CJ Beathard would be the starting quarterback. This game could come down to how, number one, Baker Mayfield plays at quarterback. And number two, if the defense of the Jaguars is going to be able to keep up and get some stops. And I don't think they will. So I'm going to roll the same way as you, and I'm going to say the Bucs are going to win this one. While I want to take the Jaguars, I just think that they're on a skid. And this is not only going to help the seeding in the playoffs for the Bills, but it could very well mean that the Bills are going to get into the playoffs with a better spot if they win the division, which would be great. So they could become the number 2 seed in the playoffs, which I would love to see.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And I know what you're doing, Brett. You're picking the same teams as me because you got a 10-point lead, and you're just going to coast and coast and coast. So I see what you're doing.
Maybe. We'll see.
But this is another tough game to pick. Both teams are eliminated. Bears actually had a chance in the playoffs if they won last week, and they were winning. And they dropped the Hail Mary pass in the end zone because they were 5-8. I think they were 5-8, and then they would have been 6-8, and then the 7th seed is 7-7 right now. So they would have had a chance at the playoffs, believe it or not, if they won that game. They did not. Tremaine Edmonds finally made a play, got a pick six. About time he made a good play. And the Cardinals, they're a team I've been loving. Man, I really don't know here because I feel like this is a legit 50-50 toss-up game. Oh, God.
Are you going to use your pass on this one?
No, I think I'll save it, or maybe not. It's been all year we didn't use one. Maybe I won't use one, but I'm just gonna go with the Cards, man. I mean, I've had faith in them a lot this year. They always seem to play tough games. They had beat a couple really good teams. I mean, the Bears beat the Lions, so they beat a good team too. Oh, man. This is one of those ones. I'm just gonna go with what my heart says. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. Kyler Murray.
The one thing I was thinking about in this game was Kyler Murray versus Justin Fields. That's what it came down to for me. And which one needs this game more? And I think that Justin Fields needs this game to prove his doubters wrong. But I'm going to take the Chicago Bears to win this one. I'm going to go in a different direction as you. I think that
you don't have to do that if you don't want to.
The Chicago defense is going to give some fits to Kyler Murray in this game, and they're going to find a way to get some points on the board, and they'll win this one, but it's going to be very close.
Yeah, I think it'll be a pretty good game too, if I'm being fair. I mean, two bad teams. Those sometimes are really good games, to believe it or not. But all right. Some people I'm not going to talk crap because I got love. I got love for my boys. And I got a lot of friends that are Fins fans. I'm not going to say what people be saying, but this is a big game for both teams. Cowboys struggle on the road, especially against great teams. And the Dolphins haven't beat a winning team since they beat us last year in week 3. Granted, they've basically almost clinched a playoff spot, so in all reality, it doesn't really matter. The Chiefs beat the Dolphins, but the Dolphins have more wins than the Chiefs. So it's like a weird how it doesn't really matter. But for the fan bases and for the media, this game is going to be one of those games everybody looks at. I really don't see the Cowboys, after a drubbing that we gave them, end up losing this game. And I'm also going to double down and pick it as an upset of the week because they haven't beaten a good team on the road. Now, I do think the Cowboys are a better football team, but in the sense of the Dolphins only lost one game at home. The Cowboys are coming off a big loss. That in some people's eyes, I think they'll bounce back and have a pretty good game and win this one.
I don't know about an upset of the week in this one. I don't know if I'm going to rule in your favor on this one for upset of the week. Okay. I mean, I don't think that's very fair because.
Oh, hey, you took a couple like this before.
Yeah, I took a couple like this before.
The Bills beating the Chiefs.
I mean, yeah, I have
beating the Chiefs.
Listen, I have a commanding win right now. So, I mean, I gotta I gotta call in like the head of picking and decide if this is fair. But I'm going to take the Cowboys to win this game. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. The one thing that the Cowboys had last week was a lot of not only injuries, but they had a lot of players that were on their roster that were sick. So they had a lot of illnesses in place. They also were missing their starting defensive tackle in Jonathan Hankins, who's one of their best run stuffers. So the one area that the team struggled with last week was the run game. And I think the biggest thing that the Bills took out of beating the Cowboys was that they could run the ball. And that's going to be one area that Mike McDaniel is going to find a way to be able to move the ball down field by trying to run Raheem Mostert. And Raheem Mostert has, over the last couple of weeks, he's put some good games together last week, but he's been kind of slowing down, in my opinion. And I don't know if you would agree with that, Sean, but I think that the biggest thing we're going to look at this week is going to be, can the Cowboys figure out how to stop Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle if both of them play? And I think they're going to find a way to slow them down. The biggest thing that they're going to need to do is get a pass rush on Tua. And this defensive line, I mean, if you look at how the Bills defensive line or offensive line they did a very good job of not only containing the defensive line of the Cowboys, but they're going to have to do the same thing with the Miami Dolphins offensive line. And the Miami Dolphins offensive line is atrocious right now. I think Micah Parsons is going to have a very big game. I think that this is going to be, a situation, and don't quote me on saying it. I'm not saying this in a bad way, but this is a game where you could look at Tua getting hurt very easily in this game because the offensive line of the Miami Dolphins is so bad that he could very well get hurt. And I hope that doesn't happen. I really do, because I like Tua. And I think he's a great quarterback in the NFL. But this is a game where you're going up against an elite defensive line this week. And this is a situation where he could get hurt. So if I'm the Miami Dolphins, you got to get the ball out very fast. So I'm going to take the Cowboys to win this game. I think they're going to find a way to get it done. But they need this game more than ever to get a top seed in the NFC conference.
Absolutely. Man, so you think we only beat them because they had injuries and sickness?
I don't know. I don't. I think the biggest thing was, losing Hankins, that's what hurt them the most.
Yeah, I think we still would have ran on them pretty good, but it is
I don't think it would have been 250 yards. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Here's a tough one because you see the Patriots beat winning teams, us and the Steelers, but they're obviously been eliminated for a while. Belichick is still trying to chase that most wins in NFL history, but the Broncos just got thwopped by the Lions. I think they'll bounce back, and the Patriots are the Patriots. Unfortunately, Broncos, they start off 1-5, now they're 7-7, so they have been playing good football. Defense has been a lot better. Russell Wilson has been very good this season. So Javonte Williams, I love him as a running back. Cortland Sutton always makes a crazy touchdown catch in every game I feel like he's in. I think the Broncos walk away with this one.
Well, the biggest thing there I'm looking at is how has the New England Patriots defense been playing? And they've been allowing a lot of points on the board. The one thing is Russell Wilson has not done a good job of putting points on the board, and I think that that's going to change in this game. He has to find a way to get down the field, put points on the board, and take a little bit of the pressure off of the Denver defense that struggled last week against the Detroit Lions. So I want to see Russell go down the field, put some points on the board, get some good drives. And I think that the way that they're going to have to do that is by utilizing Javonte Williams a little bit more and utilizing the play action, which is one of the areas that Russell Wilson strives in. And I'm going to take the Broncos to win this game, but it's going to be closer than a lot of people expect. And Bailey Zappi is going to keep them in the game. If you look at last week against the Kansas City Chiefs, yes, they did lose, but Zappi kept them in the game for quite a bit. And the Kansas City Chiefs are one of the better teams in the NFL. Don't get me wrong. Yes, they've been struggling. I know that you're going to say, why are you saying that they're one of the best teams in the NFL? But they
are. They still are.
They have Patrick Mahomes at the quarterback position. They have Travis Kelce, two of the most elite players in the NFL at their positions. But the biggest thing is, can the Broncos find a way to get it done? And I think they will this week.
Can't argue with you on that one.
And it's on Christmas Eve. That's the other thing. It's a Christmas Eve night game, which who can go wrong with that? And who wants to see grumpy old Bill Belichick get a loss on Christmas Eve?
I know, right? It'll be fun. I love the holidays in football. Mush them together. It's even better. Now we go into the Monday Christmas slots. Also 5 NBA games, which will be fun for NBA fans. Raiders versus Chiefs. Obviously, Chiefs got a easy schedule at the end. 3 very winnable games for them, so they'll probably be 12-5. Raiders are done. Maybe if the Raiders had a chance at a wild card, they might have some extra juice. Maybe they still will, because I don't think they've beaten the Chiefs in a long time. So they might have a little bit of fire in them. I just don't see them at the Chiefs at this point in time. After the couple, they were like 4 wins, 4 losses out of their last 6 games up until last week. I just don't see them crumbling, this late in the year to a Raiders team.
I mean, listen, I'm going to say this. The Raiders kept it close against them last year. They put up 63 points last week on the Chargers. They have a coach in Antonio Pierce that the team is fired up to play with. And I think he's going to become the starting not the starting, but the head coach of the Raiders next season. But I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game. There's no reason why you're going to lose this game if you're Kansas City. You got to find a way to win it. They've been struggling lately, and Rashee Rice last week really stepped up and became a focal point in this offense. The other player that I think is going to step up is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's been starting to trend in the right direction, and if you're looking for a player in your fantasy playoff race, go after Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think he's going to have next couple of weeks. He's going to have good games, especially with him splitting reps with Jerick McKinnon. So I'm taking the Chiefs to win this one. I think it's going to be a little bit close, which is the way that the Raiders have kept it over the last couple of times that they played. But the Chiefs are going to win this one.
Absolutely agree. All right. I'm going to go with my true upset and pick the Eagles over the Giants.
Let's just keep it simple and short and sweet on this one. I'm taking the Eagles. No questions about it. Tommy DeVito is going to go up against his biggest test of the year. This game is not going to be close. Let's just take the Eagles and move on to the next slide.
Yeah, and like I said, the Eagles are my upset of the week. I'm going to make it a lock, since I know you said that the Cowboys wasn't a fair one. I'll pick the Eagles over the Giants as upset officially. No, I think at least one of these games, Eagles Giants, will be close. I don't think the Giants will win, but I think they'll play kind of close. For some reason, I just feel like one of them is going to be like, how is it this close right now? Might not be this one. It might be the next one in Week 18, but
no,
Eagles will win both. But pretty Eagles end the season with Giants, Cardinals, Giants. So, pretty interesting. So that's the easy one. We'll head over to that one. And a real old Super Bowl, man. I think I was a junior in high school because I had a girlfriend whose dad liked the 49ers. And I remember it was Kaepernick and the Harbaughs, and it was a big freaking deal. And so I was 17, 11 years ago. So a Super Bowl rematch of 11 years ago. Joe Flacco, right, was the quarterback still against Colin Kaepernick. And, the 1 seed in the NFC currently and the 1 seed of the AFC. This game is – I know obviously you're going to pick one of them as your upset. Oh, no, you didn't, because you picked the Titans. All right. But this is a tough one. Because partially is because I need CMC and Debo to go off because I'm in a championship in one of my fantasies, and we both made it to the next round as the 5th and the 6th seed in our Nickel City Mafia one. We knocked out the 3 and the 4. So and I got Debo in that one, so I need them to ball out. I just got to, man, this is two great teams. They both got great defenses and great weapons on offense. I want to say this game is going to be like a 30-plus point game for both of them, but then I feel like it could be like a 20-17 game. Two great offenses and two great defenses. Oh, man, I'm going to let you go first because I definitely need another minute.
Well, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to say that this game is going to be very good all the way up until halftime, but then you're going to notice that something's going to happen.
You're muted. You're muted.
I don't know if you noticed what I did there. I actually did it on purpose because that's what normally happens when it's at halftime. You notice what happened in that game last time?
Oh, yeah.
That's why I did it. I don't know if you noticed it, but I did it on purpose.
I remember that.
But it went all the way until halftime, and it was a great game. The 49ers were winning and everything, and then all of a sudden the lights came off. But I can't turn the lights out on you. I have to turn the sound off on you.
Yeah, the power's going to go out again.
That's how we do it as podcasters. We got to do it that way. But no, I think that the 49ers are going to find a way to get this one done. The Lamar Jackson, yes, he's one of the most spectacular players in the NFL, and their offense of the Ravens has been incredible. I'm not saying that Lamar deserves MVP candidates, but he's putting up some points. They're a great team in the AFC. But they're going to go up against their biggest test of the year in the 49ers, who are by far all the way around complete. And I think that the 49ers are going to win this one. I think it's going to be close, but I think the Niners are going to just win it based off of a couple of factors, which is going to be, number one, Christian McCaffrey is one of the best players in the NFL, period.
Yeah.
Not just at his position, but overall, he's one of the best players. He can make anything happen. This defense is going to have to find a way to cover all these weapons on the 49ers offense. And you got Roquan Smith. You got Patrick Queen. They're going to have to cover quite a bit in this game. And I don't think they're going to get it done. So I'm taking the 49ers to win. But I'm telling you, this is going to be a game where the Ravens are going to put up some points. It's going to be back and forth. There's going to be a lot of fireworks. Hopefully in this game, the biggest thing that I want to see is that they keep the lights on throughout the whole entire game inside Levi Stadium. Yeah. And hopefully this is another part. Hopefully they can keep their zippers up too.
Yeah, gonna have to. Yeah, it's I know I might regret this, but I'm gonna pick the Niners. I know I got a good feeling about the Ravens winning this game. I think these teams will both finish at the 1 seed. I just think they're both hot right now, but I don't know. It's just I can't see anybody stopping CMC right now and Debo. And I mean, I just give them the advantage because they're home. I think it's going to be a good game. It's close. I think the Ravens are a fantastic football team. I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's a great quarterback. And as far as him for MVP goes, if he and not trying to discredit him because he's an outstanding quarterback. I think him and Josh Allen are two of the greatest. But when you look at their total stats, he's got 23 total touchdowns, and Josh has 37. Josh has 17 total turnovers. Lamar has 13. So four less turnovers, 14 less touchdowns. I'm going to take Josh Allen in that situation. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but that's just saying they go off wins for MVP. They don't really care about stats, because if they did care about stats, Josh Allen would be in the top 3, not 5 or 6 or 7. But again, not to discredit Lamar, I think he's a fantastic quarterback. And I think he's going to earn the 1 seed and win some playoff games this year. And I think it's going to be Ravens-Bills AFC Championship, which if we win a division, it could happen like that. If we don't win the division, we're going to play the Ravens in the divisional round. Yeah. But if we get the 4 seed and we beat Texans or Browns or whoever, and then it's going to be Dolphins, Ravens, and the Ravens will win. And then, we'll play the Chiefs, and then we'll play the Ravens in a championship, which I would love that. Because looking at the rest of the AFC teams, the Ravens are a team that, of course, I'll be upset if we lost, but I would root for them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I wouldn't root for the Dolphins, obviously, because they're a rival. Hate the damn Chiefs. I don't want to see like freaking Gardner Minshew or damn Joe Flacco or CJ Stroud win a Super Bowl right now when Josh Allen hasn't won one yet. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anyone else to win. So, but if we get there, we got to win. But we'll see when we get if and when we get there. But I'm gonna go with the Niners here. I think it'll be what a way to cap off the week and cap off Christmas. But yeah, so that's another week in the books. Let's see if I can catch up. I dug myself a big hole, and I thought last week it could have helped out a lot because we picked the same outcome except for like the first three, and I lost all those first three, which it could have helped, but it's been fun. We hope you guys have a great holiday. Make sure you check us out. I don't know what time we'll be on, but head over to Nickel City Mafia on Friday for their holiday extravaganza to raise money for Cardell, for the Punt Foundation. They're almost at their $5,000 goal, and they're going to have a really fun show, live entertainment, podcast, all this fun stuff. Santa's going to make an appearance, so bring your kids on. And then, I know for sure Brett and I are going to go on there, and Mike wants us to say our favorite holiday memory, and then we'll see from there. And then Saturday we got to figure out the Ruthless show because the game's at 8:00.
That's
and
right.
I will not be watching the game at home. I planned on live streaming it, but I don't feel like spending $6 on Peacock, so I'm going to go to my friends. Huh?
Don't worry. You're just talking about friends that have it. I'll let you use my account.
I already told my friend I was going to go over his house and watch it with him, but what I was going to say was I was going to live stream it, but I'm not going to. But we can do a show maybe at like 7, a little pregame for like 30 minutes at the most because I got to drive to my friend's house, and then we'll go from there. It's up to you. We'll talk about it because I got a little like ugly sweater party from like 4 to 6. So it's really 4 to 8, but the game's on, so I can't be there the whole time.
Right.
So if you want to go for like 7:00, we'll do like a quick 30-minute pregame, or we can just do a postgame. It's up to you. It's really up to you. We'll figure it out. Either way, we'll do a show Saturday, and then it'll be Merry Christmas to everyone. So Brett, I want to thank you again for joining me. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe to Go Bills Podcast and Red, White, and Bills. Like the video. Put your picks in the comments. Go Bills, and good luck to your teams. And if you bet money on the weekly picks.
Yep. Merry Christmas to you, Sean. I know that we're going to be, going quickly on our pregame show, but I want to say real quick, Merry Christmas, not only to you and your family, but Merry Christmas to all the guests that are on the Red, White, and Bills channel. I wish everybody a safe and happy holidays. If we don't get to see you before the New Year's, Happy New Year to each and every one of you. And I hope you stay safe and enjoy the time off from work.
Absolutely. Couldn't say it better, my friend. Same to you. Good night, guys. We'll see you next time. Don't forget Friday over at Nickel City Mafia.
Don't forget, Go Bills.